Hey, everybody. This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, let me tell you, they are such a good use case in studying how the media works, especially online. The reporting on today's news about Prince Harry's court case and the judgment that was passed down shows how these news outlets manipulate the public, especially if there are dollars behind these articles being written in order to push propaganda for celebrities, politicians, and pretty much anyone who has money. So the first headline that came up in my newsfeed today was this one: Prince Harry's legal battle against the Sun publisher going to trial. Now, this came from The Independent, which apparently is a Sussex supporter. And before reading the article, I recognized that there would be bias here. This article, technically not completely false, but also not completely true. I think that the headline is misleading because it does give the impression that all of Harry's lies in this court case had been believed and hence was allowed to proceed to go forward. But when you read the article, it then starts to unfold as to what was dismissed, what the judge had thought. But the way that some of these outlets have positioned this, in my opinion, was very misleading. Even though they do say later on that parts of Harry's case was thrown out, it does give off the overall impression that everything that Harry was saying swayed the judge in order to move it forward. We are all learning that a lot of these headlines are done for clicks as well as paid for by the people who are trying to improve their brands. So perhaps maybe Harry's PR people have helped these news outlets to craft the narrative, making sure that Harry's reputation and brand shows that he is justified in doing what he's doing. Or also, too, for the newspapers to stay on top of when you do search for him, that the clicks come to them first, which obviously it's all about money. And now you can't just read the news and believe that it's coming from an objective place. And it sucks because now the time it takes to have to cross reference and actually try to find the original sources in order to get to some type of truth. I think many of you can agree, after witnessing what we have witnessed with Meghan and Harry, you question what's the point of having journalists if all they're doing is pushing propaganda on behalf of these folks. Now, I know Black Belt Barrister went through the actual judgment itself in its entirety, so I'm not going to go through that document in its entirety because a lot of it I don't understand and don't want to misspeak on the UK law and what was being determined. What I did find helpful was the summary that they gave because it really does simplify and break it down for the common folk like myself and does make it clear on what exactly happened. So I'm going to go ahead and read it for you because it's not too long, but it is simplified and to the point, and that's what we want. So let me begin. Number 1. Judgment is handed down today on News Group Newspaper Limited's application to strike out the claim of Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, the Duke, or in the alternative, for summary judgment on its defense of the whole of the Duke's claim. So essentially, they wanted the whole thing thrown out. Number 2. It is also the judgment on the Duke's application to amend his pleaded case to rely on the effect of a secret agreement that he said was made between someone on behalf of the royal family and unidentified senior executives of News Group or its parent company in about 2012. Number 3. The Duke's claim is for damages and other relief against News Group in respect of different categories of unlawful conduct alleged to have been carried on by the News of the World and the Sun newspapers, namely interception of voicemails on his and his associates' mobile phones, quotes, phone hacking, blogging of confidential information from third parties, and instructing private investigators to do these or other unlawful acts, in quotes, the alleged unlawful acts. Number 4. A trial of the claims of the Duke and many other claimants is scheduled to start in January 2024. The process of selecting the cases that will be tried on this occasion will take place in the autumn. Number 5. The application of News Group was made solely on the ground that the Duke's claims were brought too late, as all the matters complained of occurred before 2012, and the claim was only issued on September 27, 2019. There is a 6-year limitation period for such claims. Number 6. The application raises a question about when the 6-year period for bringing these claims started to run. Was it before September 27, 2013, 6 years before the claim was issued, or at some time after that date? Section 32(1) of the Limitation Act 1980 provides that where relevant facts have been deliberately concealed from a claimant by the defendant, time does not start to run until the claimant knew or could, with reasonable diligence, have discovered the relevant facts. Number 7. The Duke's original pleaded case was that he was unaware until about 2018 that he had a claim to bring, save in relation to one isolated occasion of phone hacking in 2006. Number 8. In March 2023, the Duke made a witness statement explaining that there was a secret agreement, which he said required him only to bring a claim against News Group at a much later time, when it would be admitted by News Group or settled with an apology. He said that he did not bring his claim in about 2012 because he relied on this secret agreement. Now, for those that don't know what the secret agreement is or don't remember, this was in Harry's testimony stating that it was the Queen who made this secret agreement with News Group. He made this statement even though there is no evidence provided to support these claims. Number 9. The Duke only made an application to amend his pleaded case to rely on the secret agreement during the hearing of News Group's application in April 2023. Number 10. The Duke's proposed amended case did not reach the necessary threshold of plausibility and cogency for permission to be granted to amend his case at this stage. There was no witness or documentary evidence to support what the Duke claimed. It raised for the first time a case that was inconsistent with the existing pleaded case. Despite the attempts of the Duke's lawyers to enable both cases to proceed, the attempt to do so failed. Womp womp. Essentially, in the most polite way, this is calling Harry out for lying. Number 11. Accordingly, permission to amend the Duke's pleaded case was refused. In other words, rejected, denied, get out of my face. Number 12. As for News Group's application, it was not disputed by News Group for the purposes of this application that it had deliberately concealed relevant facts from the Duke. Number 13. For News Group to succeed on its application, it had to persuade the court that there was no realistic chance of the Duke proving at trial that he did not know and could not, with reasonable diligence, have discovered by September 27, 2013, enough to believe that he had worthwhile claims against News Group in respect of the alleged unlawful acts. So essentially what they're saying is giving benefit of the doubt to Prince Harry that he really didn't know what was going on with these unlawful acts, putting aside the phone hacking that was happening before September 27, 2013. And they actually believe him on that front. And they weigh this reasoning in conjunction with number 14. The Duke's evidence was that he knew by 2012 that he had been phone hacked by the News of the World on more than one occasion, but that he was not aware of any other unlawful acts and could not reasonably have discovered the relevant facts about them before September 27, 2013. Number 15. The decision of the court on News Group's application is that by September 2013, the Duke knew that he had been hacked by the News of the World and knew enough relevant facts about phone hacking at The Sun, or could readily have discovered them by asking his staff or lawyers, to understand that he had a worthwhile phone hacking claim in relation to the Sun. 2. That was sufficient to start time running before September 2013 for his phone hacking claim. Time therefore expired before the Duke issued his claim form in 2019. So, judge is emphasizing that the statute of limitations is being applied and ruling out being able to move forward with these hacking claims. Number 16. In relation to the other unlawful acts, however, the decision is that the Duke has a realistically arguable case at trial that he did not, by September 27, 2013, know, and in parentheses, and could not reasonably have found out enough about blagging of his confidential information and the commissioning of private investigators to do their alleged unlawful acts to believe then that he had a worthwhile claim. Number 17. Whether the Duke issued his claim for these other unlawful acts too late is one of the many issues in the claim that will have to be decided at trial in 2024 or 2025. This judgment does not decide that the Duke's claim in respect of them was issued in time. It only decides that it is not sufficiently clear at this stage that it was issued too late. Number 18. For these reasons, I will grant News Group summary judgment on its defense of the claim in respect only of the claims of phone hacking during the period 1996 to 2011. In respect of all other allegations of unlawful acts during that period, as identified in the claim, I dismiss the application for summary judgment. So, in other words, the unlawful acts because they believe, in giving Harry the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know, he should be entitled to proceed further. And finally, number 19, the outcome of the applications is therefore that News Group has succeeded in part on its application, but failed on the remaining part. So News Group's attempt to get this case completely dismissed based off of statute of limitations was only 50% successful, being that the phone hacking indicated Harry was aware of it and the time on the clock started when he became aware. The second part, obviously, they're giving Harry the benefit of the doubt and allowing this to move further because they reasonably believe that he just didn't know. Now, this is going to get interesting. Will Harry continue this fight and pursue this in trial? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see, and this now will be dragged out till 2024 or 2025. Ugh, it's so exhausting with these two. Seriously. I guess what I want to know is why is the court system giving the time and energy to Prince Harry since he has proved himself over and over to lie in court? During Harry's testimony, he failed to bring any kind of receipt. So, how can the judicial system take this seriously, especially when they are realizing that he lied about saying that the Queen had this agreement with News Group? Also, the witnesses that they had defending Prince Harry were not credible. Omid Scobie saying he had no relationship with Harry or did not know him on a personal level is an absolute lie. And let's not talk about Graham Johnson. After reviewing everything in the way that I see this and the perspective that I have, it does appear to me that there is a bias because Harry is the king's son. I do believe that if Harry was not the king's son, this would have been thrown out from the beginning. I think we have to evaluate what is the motivation for this judge to move this case further when clearly it should have been thrown out. Is it due to ego and wants this high-profile case? Is it because Harry is the king's son? Or could it be for other political factors? What am I missing? When we look at this case, if it came down to forwarding it on was a result because Harry didn't know about the unlawful acts, then why did they go through the whole rigmarole back in April? All they could have said is that he didn't know and take his word for it, because essentially that's what I'm seeing happen. Is the UK judiciary system a fair system? We saw the bias with Johnny Depp. We saw them allow Meghan to commit perjury in the court of law. Now we have this. I'm getting really concerned that Harry's going to get his IPP status back as a result of him being who he is in relation to the king's court. Another thing that I think about is Samantha's case and her having Prince Harry on her list for discovery. If they plan on interrogating him as well as bringing him, let's say this goes to trial, I have no doubt that this man is going to lie through his teeth, especially if he knows that he can get away with it in the UK court. We all witnessed here in the United States Amber Heard lie through her teeth and nothing happened to her as a consequence. So it begs the question, is Harry a good person to bring to the stand and question? In my personal opinion, I think the people that should be questioned are the people like Ken Sunshine from Sunshine Sachs or Kaylee Thomas Morgan, the folks that had been advising Meghan and Harry on their nefarious dealings and get information out from there. Also, perhaps the people from Archwell that left Meghan and Harry, I'm sure they're dying to open their mouths and spill the beans about their former employer. Just some things to think about, especially if funds are limited and they can only depose a certain amount of people because of the costs. Just something to think about. It may be a waste of money and time to do it with Harry. But then again, it could go both ways if we have Harry deposed and Meghan deposed and their stories don't match, which I'm sure, since they are caught up in so many lies, they're bound to slip up somewhere, which we catch them all the time. It could work in so many ways in Samantha's favor, but we'll just have to see. Anyhow, what do you guys think? Do you agree with my sentiment, or do you think that this was a fair judgment? And looking forward to all the future news releases about Harry and him fighting the press in his crusade to censor all of us. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I was such a fraud.